Hi, my name's Wayne Duvenage, the CEO of the organization Undoing Tax Abuse, and we often get this question, why doesn't OUTA investigate and expose corruption in the corporate sector, the private sector? And it's a valid question, and we get this from time to time. So let me explain why not, and clear this up. Because it's not that we don't think that there is corporate corruption or that it doesn't exist. Of course, it does. And in fact, we've often said that when it comes to public sector corruption, well, private sector is the other side of the coin, quite frankly. These deals that involve kickbacks and inflated tenders and dodgy contracts usually involve someone on the outside as well as a public official on the inside within government. So why then aren't we tackling the private sector? Well, our work is focused almost exclusively on the public sector. And it comes down to our mandate and our resources. So just understand this, OUTA exists to fight the corrupt use of public power, public funds, and the waste of our taxpayers' money. And that's being our primary mission. We need to hold the government departments accountable. Those entities and those officials who are not managing our resources that belong to you and I in the best way that they should. So when corruption happens, it is generally the government official, the person that holds the checkbook, that signs the checkbook, that enables the crime to take place. They're the ones who sign off these inflated invoices. They're the ones that award these irregular contracts and the manipulated tenders that take place. So that's where we have to put our energy and focus. If we can stop that, well, then you stop the people on the other side from even participating in the first place. So it's important to know that once we've exposed public sector corruption, by the way, all the players involved are provided in our feedback and our exposés. And we hand this information over, by the way, to the likes of the NPA, the Hawks, the Special Investigations Unit, and SARS and other entities. And these are the entities within government who have the legal mandate and the authority to go after those private companies. And we've seen how they do this, and sometimes not even here, but overseas. Big names like McKinsey, Bain, KPMG, ABB, a number of them have paid heavy prices for their involvement in state capture corruption, as of the construction companies in the Gauteng freeway upgrade, that came from the exposure, by the way, of the work done by civil society. So the truth is that most private entities involved in state corruption, by the way, are not major corporations. They are small shelf companies. They're fly-by-night organizations that are set up specifically to siphon off funds from within government. And while we'd love to tackle both sides, the reality is we just don't have the resources. We cannot go after everyone. So we pick the fight where the issue lies, where the power lies, where the taxpayers' money is being misused. And we make that work that we do count. So just on a related question, well, we get a lot of corporate corruption that just takes place. Generally, it's corruption that deals with stuff like false advertising, price manipulation, unsafe products, corporate misrepresentation, manipulated asset values, and that's corporate corruption that doesn't even involve the public sector. And it's so important that is also tackled. But again, as I explained earlier on, this is about resources. This is about focus. And quite frankly, we don't have the mandate to tackle that work. It's very necessary work, but we believe that that work is best tackled by the shareholders of those companies, by the board members of those companies, by institutions like the JSE, by the criminal processes that take place in just normal corporate laws and the NPA and SIU that also tackle that type of corruption. There are many mechanisms in government, and they do that work, and they're supposed to do more of it. And I think if you just step back and look at it, big corporate corruption, you don't see much of it. When it happens, it's big news. It's certainly not to the extent that it happens in the private sector. Normal consumer activism also plays a big part in undoing that type of corruption. So, long story short, it's not our space. We don't have the resources to tackle corporate sector corruption as much as we would love to. We don't have the time. We don't have the funds, and it requires a different set of expertise and focus areas. There are a lot of good organizations that are doing good work in that space as it is. I hope this explains why we don't do much in the space of corporate corruption and private sector corruption. It's not that we don't believe it's an issue. It really does come down to resources and skills and funds to be able to do so. Thanks for listening.